They've got to have talent. They've got to have talent that makes people want to buy a record.
That makes say, what's the secret? I got a good sounding
songwriters are the backbone of our industry.
17,000 Facebook fans and friends, and 20 represented over 1,400 musicians involved.
We classify ourselves as one thing,
most
and maybe we're not.
well-connected people in the music industry.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Alesis came out with the ADAT, which was the first inexpensive, viable home recording, multi-track recording unit. And I could see the potential that if people could do their own demos at home and equipment just kept getting better by the day and cheaper by the day, that was going to help a lot of people who had that cost barrier of going to a pro studio no longer have that barrier.
By the mid-'80s, home and project studios started springing up all over the country, because the recording gear started getting more and more affordable. That's how I was able to, make my own record, just at some studio in the basement somewhere.
I now no longer have to be able to afford a recording studio that might cost, it might be a six-figure recording budget. I no longer have to make my music mainstream in order to convince some fat cat bigwig head of a major label to even press copies of it and distribute them to radio stations.
2,500 musicians come from all over the world. We do it here in Los Angeles. We get about 100 different panelists, speakers, teachers, and mentors to show up. Vice presidents of major record companies, directors of A&R, creative directors from big-time publishing companies, giant hit songwriters. A lot of people say it's life-changing. They actually use those words. More importantly is people come away from the rally say, I learned more in 3 days than I've learned in the last 10 years.
You're learning from the people that you go around in this wonderful place that Michael and these folks have put together, and you're learning how to present your material. You're learning how to be part of the fabric of the music business. And it's just fantastic. And I just applaud you all for all that you have been doing. It's so cool. It's so cool, really. It's so cool.
I came from England and I'm in a band, and we heard it'd be good for the band if we come to this music convention. And we've been here for 2 days now, and it turns out that it has been good. We've met so many influential people. We've been pointed in the right direction.
As an artist, I would like to just keep gigging, keep recording, and just eventually try to get my music in other higher venues and other institutions, such as film or anything else.
Out of all the conferences that I've been to this year, pound for pound, this has had the most positive group of people that I've seen out of anyone. Everybody here, from the record company executives to the professional writers to the amateur musicians, every one of them is so positive about what they can achieve about the music industry and where they can go from it that it's infectious, and it actually makes you want to do more and actually get more. And it's incredible when you talk about how the music industry has had so many issues and financially has had so many problems, and yet here's a group of people who feel that they can conquer the world. It's almost like, yeah, the world can be conquered.
Taxi is a company that helps deserving songwriters, artists, composers get their music heard by professionals in the industry. Being that I used to be an engineer and producer, sometimes in between working with the big famous groups, I'd work with local artists or songwriters and work on their demos. And every now and then would work with somebody who was just plain amazing. I had a boss that I didn't love. I didn't really love running this post-production company, even though I had a company, BMW, and an apartment in LA, an apartment in New York, and was flying back and forth all the time. Pretty jet-setty lifestyle, but I wasn't doing what I loved, which was helping the unknown, unsigned acts do the best they could with what they had. An A&R person gets to go no or yes. Taxi screeners have to be able to tell somebody why a song isn't working and what they can do to improve it. Just because you've been vice president of A&R at a major label doesn't make you a great screener for Taxi. We don't ever want our members to feel like we're criticizing them. We're not. We're helping them identify problem areas so that they can get past those problems and continue to get better so that we can ultimately forward them. People in the industry, they get the A+ all the time. If we forward a B+ or an A-, they'll never run another listing with us. So we feel that it's our mission and our goal here to take the C's and turn them into C+, and then to B- and then to B's. Take the B's and turn them into A's, and then forward the A's. The record companies don't do artist development anymore. You're either ready or you're not, and if you're not, they won't sign you. If you are, they will. Our job really has become taking over the development, the artist development side of the industry, and that's what we love to do.
It feels like I get to be here and give and really help affect people and their ability to do what is meaningful to them, and to me that's the greatest joy, and good things come out of it for me on other levels, but really I'm just thrilled by what happens for people and what I'm able to contribute.
Any one of you at any moment can choose the role of I'm a fantastic performer. I am not shy. I'm very confident. And you could choose that. You could say that. You could affirm that. And, I don't want to get into all law of attraction and affirmations, but you can do that. That's something you can actually do. But we don't. And we got all sorts of reasons and excuses and justifications why we can't do that. Why we can't be these fantastic performers immediately. Now, why is that scary? Why is that scary? It's change. What might happen? You might fail. Oh, boy. Well, if you're worried that your failure is going to make you less of a person, then that's a problem. If you know it's not, then you're in good shape. Doesn't matter. Fail, succeed, doesn't matter.
You have to be good at failing. I think to succeed in the music industry in any capacity, whether you're trying to be a marketer, a publicist, a manager, a booking agent, you have got to get that you're going to fail. And you're going to fail over and over and over. Even as a musician, you might write something you think is great, no one cares. You write something that you're not so sure of and everybody starts to like it and pick up on it. And you have to be okay with falling off the horse, falling off the horse, falling off the horse, falling off the treadmill, getting back on it. And that's the part, that's the artist that I see succeeding, the one that keeps going.
What it comes down to is like, is this special? Like, is this really different, distinctive? Is there something about this that like makes the hair on my arm stand up?
Be remarkable, causing one person to remark to another. In order to do that, you as an artist or a songwriter have to make remarkable material. Everything we're going to talk about on this panel today doesn't mean anything if your music stinks or is just even mediocre or good. It's got to be great so that it causes somebody to share it with somebody else. It's that simple.
I think one of the things that Taxi does best is it really helps people move forward more quickly with their careers than they otherwise would. I remember when I started, and there was no help. There was just no one out there saying to you, hey, you could cut a year off of your struggle if you try these 3 things. Go study this, go look at that. It just wasn't there. And so to be able to come here to the road rally, to stand up in front of 1,100 people and say, try this. It's easy. I know it sounds like a simple thing, but it'll give you a competitive edge for your songs that may help you get into a primetime TV drama, next month, and start earning fees and royalties and getting your music out there to people. That's a wonderful opportunity.
The biggest windfall, I guess, for our members has been the film and television market. When I started the company, I knew that we would dabble in that, but I had no idea that it would kind of take off on its own as it did. Very early on, we started getting calls from music supervisors working on films or TV shows, from production music libraries, which are film and TV specific publishers. The people who use your stuff in TV shows or movies, they don't care what you look like, how old you are, where you live, that you've got a wife and kids, that you can't tour. They don't care about that. They only care about, does this song work for this scene?
How long does it take you? You know, do you work 8 or 10 hours a day for 4 or 5 days on it and then turn something in, or do you turn in a relatively fleshed out sketch after a couple days and they give you tweaks? How's the process go?
Well, for me, I think when you're first on a show, you've got to score it very quickly, even though, you know, you got the gig, and you have to submit it before they go to mix with the sound effects. We call it the dub, or, you know, before they go to the dub stage, when sound effects and dialogue and everything else that is going to wreck your music goes onto the show. So you've got to give it to them before that. Then they'll give you notes like, well, probably one of the notes will be, if they love the temp, you know, Q1M2 is not close enough to the temp. You know, so you go have a scotch and you come back and relax. You know, but so when you're first working on a show, you gotta go and, you know, I have all my sounds. You know, I think I was telling you people, if you want to do this, scoring a TV show or a movie, unless you've got really big movies, you really have to know your gear. You know, I know Logic inside out. I have every single library there is. I have sonic implants. I have the East-West Quantum Leap Orchestra. I have all the Vienna sounds. I have LA scoring strings. Those are all just my strings.
And on top of that, you bring in real string players into your home studio
and blend them. For Clone Wars, I bring in 6 violins and 1 or 2 cellos, and we triple track them.
What is exactly being asked for here? It's a visual medium that you're trying to get your music coupled with, and you have to look at your music in a new way, in that it's something that's going to be used as underscore to a visual, not a piece of music that you're going to go and listen to in the headphones and, you know, send to your friends and all of that. It's not a standalone usage. It's a synchronous use. It's a use where your music's going to add something to a visual and create a message.
If you're writing songs for TV and movies, it can be any genre. It can be gospel, it can be rock, it can be hip-hop. As long as the quality of your production is fine. But more importantly, it could be any era. You don't have to be particular to another era, because these songs might be shot in some 1980s scene, and they might want a bar scene. But I like the idea of having a goal, like where really could my song be played?
I have access to the hippest people on the planet. I can call Herbie Hancock. If I need the most burnin' bebop track, I can call Herbie. This is who you're up against. And this is not to dissuade you. The competition is fierce, but you have to approach every project. You have to write the coolest, best thing that you can write. And it's got a real, if it's an indie track, if it's a Foo Fighters track, or if it's a Miles Davis inspired thing, it's got to be the shit. On every level. It can't be halfway there. It can't be 90% of the way there, because there's so many people who can absolutely nail it. And and I'm saying that to inspire you. And what you should be writing is what you write best. But don't in any way try and either downplay it, or I tell this to Michael all the time. Don't be clever. Be smart. Be cool and be good, because that's what they're looking for.